could look to go 2-0. They're playing both Rocket and Splyce, who are around them. The only other team that's still down there in that, part of the bracket would be Elements. And, for Giants, let's see if they can make this a 2-0.
Yeah, and we just saw what Rocket failed with against Elements. So Elements playing that game out pretty well. So that would be a tough matchup. But nevertheless, in this one, if Splyce go kind of safe, go with what they know, I feel like they can take this game relatively quickly. But then the Giants, we never know which team's going to show up right now. Whether it's going to be the team from yesterday that somehow get like a Baron steal and then take a Baron for themselves, or whether it'll be the team that really don't put up any kind of fight.
Yeah, the spirit of El Bandito channeled through BetongJocke. Helped Giants lost, picking up a couple wins. But you can't rely on that if that's your strategy. Targeted bans is the name of the game today. Stress. Splyce have taken off Braum, Malphite, and Kalista. The Potato Cannon, Yamato Cannon on the left there, helping guide Splyce's hand, whereas Poppy, Gangplank, maybe Alistar?
Possibly. It depends on whether they want to take the Tahm Kench away from Wunderwear. It's not a high priority pick right now, but it's certainly one that Wunderwear has been very good on when he's got it. Probably one of the only champions he's to the level that Splyce have needed him at. Has struggled a lot with a lot of his other champions, but I guess there's one champion for Splyce that has stood out way more than the rest of them, and that is Sencux, no longer with the LeBlanc.
Well, yes, it is a valuable ban. Been played twice by Sencux. He's actually only given up one death. He's 11-1-8. And I respect that, but it's interesting because xPePii was the kind of player who would go toe-to-toe with any mid laner last year. That's the key point, isn't it?
Yeah. Yesterday he had a good game as well. I mean, his performance, he was on the Victor, I believe it was, yesterday. Had a decent game. Did exactly what Giants needed him to do. Question is, can he do it against Sencux, who has shown that he can put on massive performances, but has also shown his weaknesses that we saw in Challenger as well.
He needs to do it again. I mean, deep champion pools here for Sencux, for Nisbeth, for Wunderwear, 5, 6, 7 champions across the table, trying to find a gameplay or a style that sticks. And they've not found it yet. So let's see what they decide on. If the Lucian gets locked in the second rotation, then you can be sure that Sencux will take Corki mid. Alistar and Nidalee. For Giants, you can build anything around that.
Yeah, that is a very standard 1-2 punch for the draft right now out of the Giants, as is the Corki Lucian setup. This is obviously now Sencux going Corki mid. Lucian, well, actually, it could be top lane. I don't think Wunderwear will play Lucian in the top lane. It's much more likely to be going down.
I feel like that was a one-and-done kind of scenario. Lucian top with Kobbe.
Maybe. The thing is, you can never tell.
Yeah.
Right? Is it could just come back out and surprise a week later somebody else is playing it.
It really could, especially when you look at Atom, who's not really taken to this top lane on the stage. He was plucked out of solo queue, little to no real competitive experience in the history, and has struggled to go toe-to-toe with some of his opponents. Let's see what he's going to play. He's got the counter pick opportunity.
Yeah, they're giving him the counter pick, but going for a fair amount of poke here, have the Ahri to kind of glide them through until the Ezreal is strong enough to end the game potentially for Giants. That's a long way off in the future. Yeah. But they do have the Nidalee. They've got the Ezreal as well. There's a good carry setup for the Giants right now.
It's going to be tough to stick to them. Every single one of those champions has some form of mobility, or Alistar's got to be a champion or a minion, but there's dashes and dodges and ducks that they can pull off. So let's see how mobile Giants can play. No front line to speak of outside of Alistar's ultimate. The timed window. And for Splyce, they got a couple seconds left. The Tahm Kench is being hovered. It was not banned away.
The same can be said for Splyce when it comes to top lane right now until they lock in picks. That is the Fiora locked for Wunderwear. Now, do they go for this Tahm Kench and play around, protect Kobbe, protect Sencux, one of those two carries? They do lock it in. Although I feel like I'd prefer it if Wunderwear was on it. Of course, Tahm Kench did have nerfs. Damage was reduced. So
pushing him a little bit more to that support role, or dealing with the troubles.
From what we've seen, yeah. Actually, we're expecting it maybe to go not quite so far off everybody's radar, but a lot of teams have stopped picking up the catfish. Not getting caught out, tricked in.
Less so, I think, is fair. You can see what's that pick rate, 26%, 13 out of 50 games, so a lot of play earlier in the split. What do Giants reply? They know it's going to be into Fiora. Atom's played a couple of carries.
Poppy's not available.
Cannon maybe would do well into Fiora. Seen it before. He's played it before.
Off the table as well. Huh. So we did see a Maokai in Challenger a week and a half ago. I believe we also saw it in the LCS. I think Freddy122 played it. With that Grasp of the Undying. Normally good into AP champions, but just has a lot of sustain available with Grasp of the Undying. Can obviously go the armor-heavy route as well. And that has been locked in, so it gives them the engage. I like this whenever you're running these kind of sieging compositions. It gives you an additional option for Atom now in the top lane. He can kind of hold his own top for a while in the game, then look to teleport in with a little bit of an engage potential from that.
And I'm also a fan of just the point-and-click route.
Yep.
It reduces the risk of problems. It is fairly telegraphed, though, so Wunderwear, we'll see if he can get that riposte off and how the non-targetable dash in route form. It's always a fun interaction to watch.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is, in this kind of matchup, you just have to run up, hope he uses his riposte when you ground smash him. Otherwise, he gets disrupted anyway, and you slow him down, you start wailing on him with auto attacks. So it's not quite as simple as just Wing in. I don't expect to see Atom just Wing in randomly all that much, but... Not
just yet, anyway. I like the setup, and for Splyce, this is a team that's actually given a lot of their 15 to 30-minute CS to Wunderwear. He tends to clean up those side lanes very frequently, and that could be very beneficial on a champion like Fiora if he's able to get a little bit ahead of this Maokai. If he can start pushing Maokai around, that can be a very clear route to the Nexus for Splyce, if you believe that hashtag spy win.
Hashtag spy win, well, I spy with my little eye. Hashtag Giants win on the red side. So we'll see who, in fact, is going to get this one. Make sure you get those tweets in at LOL eSports. Use the hashtags. Let's figure out, are Giants going to be 8th, or will it be Splyce holding on to their 8th position?
Will they have a 2-0 week? Let's see. That's a big confidence boost for Giants, for an organization that has been struggling for a while now. And it's going to start by this early lane decision. Do they want to go toe-to-toe, Maokai into Fiora, or rather Ezreal Ali into Lucian Tahm Kench? I
mean, the weird thing about Maokai lanes is now that the Grasp of the Undying plus is passive, it means you very rarely get forced out of lane. You just sit there with health potions and an Endurance ring, and you have enough health, you have enough mana, you have just the ability to just sit in the lane. And very difficult. Pulse went on a rant on Challenger this week about how double Doran's ring synergizes incredibly well with Maokai. I'm not going to get too far into it, but I'm not starting his rant, don't worry. I'm not going to do that. But nevertheless, that's the kind of build you expect to see out of Atom. It just makes it so that you can't force a Maokai out of lane very easily in the 1v1.
Well, more diversity in those Keystone Masteries. Last game here of week 5. Ooh. We are on 6.2.
Earthquake.
Yeah, a little bit of an earthquake. I think the Observer's having a little too much fun today.
What, you mean Steve Cam wasn't warranted, Trevor? Nevertheless, hey, not in this game. Okay, let's get back. It's on Giants. We've got a lane swap. So, it's Australia lanes for now. You can see Maokai headed bot side. You can see Splyce on the other side. Wunderwear and Trashy starting on their Krugs. So we are going to end up in those inverted lanes.
We can see GODFRED going to somewhat challenged timing, look for where Trashy might be. Doesn't find any opposition inside Splyce's jungle, nor vision. So they can deduce that Trashy started on the bottom quadrant. And we'll see how these two teams handle. I kind of feel like this low level is definitely going to go in favor of Wunderwear. Atom needs time to build up the sustain, so as long as Wunderwear is playing aggro.
He does. This means Atom has to obviously play around that passive fairly heavily right now. Has a couple of health potions, has used one already, but is waiting for that number of abilities to tick up so you can just land an auto and push the Fiora back away with his Q as well. So it's tough for the first couple of levels, but as soon as he gets access to all of his abilities, Fiora realistically can't trade too effectively, otherwise she risks getting locked down for a while and losing the health trade like this. Well, but Atom,
well, there you go. Passive from Maokai, plus some help from Grasp of the Undying, and Atom's got a very big minion wave pushing towards him as well. Even though he's down in CS, you have to count the minions on the floor that he can still bend over and pick up. All that gold that falls.
Send him in that situation that Kobbe was talking about, where there's gold on the floor, but you can't pick it up.
Just got to pick it up.
But, just farm it.
Peppy, for the time being chunked out. Again, also something you expect. The Corki into Ahri.
Yep.
Corki should have some bullying room until Peppy gets access to Spirit Rush.
Yeah, we talked with Perks from G2 last week about this. Until you get level 6 on Ahri, it's kind of a difficult lane just to survive through. So no real surprises there. Yeah. Trying to get onto that damage onto Adryh, but only the one Devour stack, so no real all-in potential there.
Big burst though. Kobbe and Nisbeth landing piercing light and tongue
okay,
latch.
Peppy's got to start dodging those a little bit more. I mean, we are on a very low ping environment, so if you're on the edge of that phosphorus bomb, it is possible to dodge out. A little bit surprised to have seen him take 3 or 4 of those already.
And this is just kind of the problem that Giants are facing, is that they have mechanically somewhat fallen off from what we saw last year. Now, I don't want to hop on that too much because yesterday they actually had a mechanical steal from BetongJocke, a mistake from Rocket, etc. And Giants were able to then, punish Rocket and pick up a win. Break that losing streak. Was at 8 games. With Rocket losing earlier, they now have a 9-game losing streak. But Giants have to continue some of that positivity and good calls from yesterday into today's game.
You got to use the power of positivity, Trevor. That is how you make sure that your team can rock it in the LCS. Problem is, hard to be positive at times. I know Giants as an organization were like, look, you guys, our fans, were a little bit unhappy with us. We're even more unhappy with ourselves. They put out a big press release last week and seemed to have turned things around coming into this week, but now Atom in this bottom lane had Trashy warded out, so will deter the gank. So for now, things are all quiet on the front for Giants.
All quiet on the eastern front or bottom lane.
Yeah, I was going to go with that, but I was I'm leaving it.
I was looking at it, I'm like, geographically that actually makes sense. It's probably southeastern, actually, if we want to get technical.
This is why I left it, Trevor.
Yeah.
See?
I didn't have the internal debates previously. I was just like, I'm going to say it.
Trust me, I get that a lot. Yeah. Doesn't always work out too well.
No, I should contemplate things a little more. And just trading and farming back and forth. Even Stevens across all of the lanes here. Atom marginally behind Wunderwear, but there is a wave pushing into him. And recalls. Let's see if that second Dawn's Ring is picked up. Oh, not yet. Ooh, Pulse will be disappointed.
Yeah, he will be. Oh well, it's fine. He's just going Catalyst.
Yeah.
He's just going to try and rush there. He's not really being pushed out too heavily. He's down on CS, but hasn't really struggled so far. Wunderwear did just hit level 6 though, so Atom does have to be careful of any attempted all-in if he's pushed too far forward.
I mean, there has to be quite a monumental mistake for any of these lanes really to have troubles.
Yeah.
Peppy's now 6. He's got to get out of jail free card. Alistar, Ezreal, so difficult to kill them.
Yep.
If Kobbe's in trouble, he'll just get gobbled by Nisbeth. Like, all of these tools have safety.
Even with jungle pressure, like, you're not going to get a kill mid lane. You've got Devour plus the Alistar top lane. So on both sides, they're very neutral when it comes to the ability of, or the amount of kill pressure.
Well, there's jungle involvement now. BetongJocke is going to be the first one to come on.
Oh, Adryh moved forward into this.
He did, but Kobbe's not backed away. GODFRED, he can flash for this, and he does! Flash pulverize, headbutts Nisbeth backwards. Grey health is ticking down, 200. Grey health has been chowed. Ignite is burning and Summoner heal. Nisbeth, both Summoners blown away. Kobbe gets exhausted. GODFRED a little afraid for BetongJocke's life. And they trade duo supports Summoners.
Yeah, flash for flash plus the heal from Kobbe came out there. They also got the read on Trashy being topside as well. So it now gives BetongJocke a little bit of time to go recall. He knows there's not too much danger. The problem is this was right in line with the red buff timing coming up for BetongJocke. So he now has to forego that. We'll have to check it out in a moment, but the fact that Sencux is roamed up from mid lane tells the story there. Yeah. That they're in their jungle, you can't really go aggressive. Betong goes down into the bottom side jungle. Maybe going to try and look to deep ward on the lower side for Splyce just to compensate for that. See if you can get a read onto when Trashy goes for his red, but he's not gone for red, he's gone for mid.
Very good charm from Peppy. He manages to sidestep the cocoon. And Splyce, I think props to them. They read the situation top to steal the jungle camps away. Now Giants trying to reply in kind. They've grouped up with BetongJocke and Atom pushing into the jungle, but there is a potential for altercation here, Stress, if Splyce can decide to contest.
Yeah, they know Trashy's there. Trashy will clear out the ward with that razor sharp buff, and it means BetongJocke gets out of there with his life. Isn't really phased. They had Atom around, had already walked up from the bottom lane as well. So at this point, Giants fairly controlled. Splyce do have themselves a lead from the farming, predominantly in that top lane, 73 CS to 52. Wunderwear, we talked about how much CS he gets later into the game. He hasn't been pressured in the beginning of the game. 8 minutes in, there has been almost no jungle pressure shown towards what would be our top lane matchup here. And Wunderwear, that's where he struggles. He's had so many games where people have been in his lane, and he's been unable to survive through the ganks. This game so far has not been an issue.
None whatsoever. Got that Jorum's Fist already. So a little bit of healthy tankiness. And I want to see how Adryh and GODFRED handle this duo lane now, because almost every time we've glanced up, it's felt like Kobbe's landed a piercing light and multiple autos onto Adryh. And that's going to be way scarier with a BF sword and 2 long swords. So, you know, Adryh's looking to stay at arm's length and just say Mystic Shot, Mystic Shot, Mystic Shot, whereas Kobbe, he's going to have the, you know, kill potential if Adryh takes too much damage.
Yeah, and you also, as you you talked about, if any time Giants go aggressive, Kobbe, wow, that's, as you said,
I rest my case.
It's a lot of damage that's going to come out here, and if Adryh doesn't trade back effectively, which is difficult now with the Sheen only and the tier, you expect him not to have too much damage. If Giants ever try and trade, Devour just comes out from Nisbeth. Pulls them back away, nothing really to happen in that duo matchup. But bottom lane, BetongJocke finally going to try and focus some attention down onto Wunderwear. Lands the spear.
Wow, that was a flash into the root. They're going to dash forward. BetongJocke's looking to leap. There was a peel backwards as Trashy left the top lane. A long-range leap. BetongJocke first blood.
On the first time the jungle pressure is shown onto Wunderwear, it crumbles. The flash engage out of Atom. Wunderwear was even roaming up because he felt like it was coming. He was going to place a ward down, even got it, but it was too late. It was already there. Nidalee had already got herself through the river. Just seconds too late from Wunderwear. That is the first kill on the board for this game.
It's a lot of attention top lane, Stress.
Oh, yes.
Trashy's hanging out behind Adryh and GODFRED. There's a teleport available for Atom. It started to channel. The cocoon catches Adryh. He did not flash away. Still alive as the exhaust is on Trashy. A challenge has been issued, not answered yet. Sencux is moving after Adryh and takes him down. Splyce get themselves a kill, and everybody was in that top lane.
Yeah, Atom appeared with the teleport as well, but Adryh got bound behind his turret by that cocoon, and it's easy pickings for Splyce at that point to go aggressive. They return the favor on the gank, this time on the top side, trying to focus out one of the weaker points for the Giants. They feel that tier Ezreal right now not really able to fire back, and you can see that Adryh, rather... Seriously? Seriously?
Yamato gonna be happy with that tower dive top lane.
He's not going to turtleneck on today.
Nope.
Not very tactical.
It was Tactical Turtleneck, the Tactical Neck, brought to you by Yamato Cannon and Splyce. And you know, they're 1-0 against Giants, right? They beat them the last time they played. Splyce, in theory, have looked a little better, but they've had the same problems that Giants have had. They're not growing, they're not developing, we're not seeing these developments. I do think that they're playing more aggressively, at least Kobbe and Nisbeth this game. So let's see if they can spearhead with Kobbe.
So I have this really weird analogy right now about what I feel about Splyce, because they're trying to grow. It's like they're trying to put on platform shoes to make themselves feel taller. And when you take them back off by trying to use all of these different strategies, you're still the same height. You're still at the same level you were. You were just pretending to try and be higher for a while. And honestly, I feel like Splyce have a good kind of grounding on the game when they're playing simpler strategies. I feel like watching them, they're actually not the same team that we see when they're trying to go too far too quickly. But they're just trying so many things.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And I think if you look at the current comp, it's relatively easy to understand. Try to enable Wunderwear to split push, and use Nisbeth to save whoever gets caught. We'll see if they can pull it off. And of course, the fact that Lucian, Corki, and Fiora are just going to come to life in the mid game will be very, very useful for them. Atom's doing a little bit of thrift shopping. Got himself the Glacial Shroud immediately after Catalyst. Get some armor. He was struggling somewhat, and he may continue to struggle if Trashy's here first. BetongJocke is coming in from behind. It's a 2v2. Grand challenge onto Atom. He's jumped onto Trashy. Trashy will repel up, buy as much time as he can. BetongJocke leaps back in, and then puts some damage onto Wunderwear. Oh, very close on that cocoon. True Shot Barrage also comes out from Adryh, but to no avail.
Didn't pop any tags or flashes in that engage in the top lane. Wunderwear, his was still down, but managed to get himself away, and Splyce again come out without losing anything in that engage. It's just constant pressure though onto Wunderwear, just the attempt, but it's bottom lane. This is what we need to see from eXpEPii. He's gone over a ward. Nisbeth does have the Devour. They have to catch out the Tahm Kench.
Look for the charm. He's held the trigger, fires it, and Kobbe walks away. eXpEPii roaming, unsuccessful this time. And this is also something, if I remember correctly, Perks talked about, saying if you can roam, you can kill some of the other lanes.
Well, you can. Oh.
Or vice versa. eXpEPii's low on mana, gonna be in trouble. Sencux is looking to chase. There's an exhaust available for Sencux, but he is also out of mana. And eXpEPii just takes a beating and walks away. Trashy, if the cocoon finds Betong, it does not. Meaning Splyce have to back away.
Apparently not so good at hide and seek, just better at that I Spy. But Flash was used by Nisbeth in that engage bottom lane. Nisbeth knew exactly what he had to do there. All he's got to do is cross behind the minion wave, because he is the key safety net for Kobbe. So it doesn't matter whether Kobbe gets charmed dead. No damage can come out that fast that Kobbe dies before Nisbeth is able to devour him.
Heads up play from Nisbeth, playing his role well. And this game is still very, very close. Giants, despite having a tower advantage, they're only 600 gold up. Don't feel that is a very large amount, especially not at 15 minutes. Take a look at the items. Iceborne Gauntlet picked up for Adryh. Abyssal Scepter for eXpEPii. Almost Triforce for Sencux, and the Essence Weaver for Kobbe.
Oh, package used by Sencux. Probably about to time out. That's normally what we'll see from anytime Corki uses a package that wasn't an engage like that. So we're seeing Adryh go for the Iceborne Gauntlet before finishing his Muramana. Typically, you'll just see that if there's no pressure to get damage right now. So Adryh's going to aim for that damage a little bit later, but has the utility, has a little bit of extra when it comes to his ability to clear out waves in front of him. It's only a minor amount, but bottom lane, once again, we're seeing BetongJocke look for a gank.
GODFRED, another flash pulverize, catches Nisbeth. Grey health is the target. Kobbe shoots out the culling sideways, but doesn't really find a target. Teleport cancelled by Wunderwear. eXpEPii's joined in for the fight. Nisbeth has devoured Kobbe and runs under the tower. Spits him back out in safety, and Giants fail everything.
Wunderwear cancelled his TP to stay top lane. They knew the solo target would be safe from Kobbe. It means that Wunderwear can push. Sencux can push here as well. A lot committed by the Giants into the bottom lane. They will get the tower from it, but I feel like they're going to lose at least top in the process.
Let's find out if it's a 1-for-1 tower trade. But Splyce come out ahead with pressure. Is still an advantage in their favor. Giants have not opted to back just yet. And as you mentioned, Stretch, Wunderwear gets top. Sencux got the mid outer turret down to about 20%. Maybe a little less. So it won't be too long before that is then toppled over as well.
And from what we've seen so far in this game, Giants are relying on their single target engage when it comes to the likes of the Maokai. Yes, there have been a couple of Q flashes on GODFRED, but it's only been against Tahm Kench twice, which is one single target. And you know, if you can't blow up that target quick enough in the the likes of Kobbe, it just means that Nisbeth's going to come over, devour him, walk away, and Giants use all of their engage, including now a Righteous Glory, all trying to go for that engage.
Real old school item build here from Atom. When he was still relevant, Maokai was still relevant last year. I corrected it.
I was wondering where that was going.
I corrected it. When Maokai was still a top tier top laner. We'll see how Atom can make use of that, especially with the engage potential. But it's tough, isn't it? When you've got a Tahm Kench that, Cocoon finds eXpEPii and follows up with damage. When you've got a Tahm Kench support to deal with, you kind of don't want to focus him, but you kind of have to. Because if you try to focus somebody else, he just devours him. So
you got to.
You
got to take him out, and he just only gets tankier. Thankfully, it's support Tahm Kench, so he's less tanky than top lane Tahm Kench normally would get to. But speaking of Maokai and his prevalence last year, I mean, Maokai has always been a champion that has basically one thing and does it very well, and that's engage. I guess two things, because then he protects the team with the ult from that. But he's not exactly the most complex champion to run in a team composition. It's like, can we engage? If yes, go. If no, don't go. It's quite nice. If you're ever playing dynamic queue and you're like, we need a top laner and we've got a neutral lane, what do we do? Let's go for simplicity's sake and go for Maokai.
Yep. Binary champion, maybe.
Very, very simple when it comes to decision making. Not a whole lot of difficult decisions to be made.
Kobbe chunks down Adryh just a little with the use of the culling. Sends a little love tap his way while pushing the wave out. 181 CS to 153, so you know, that lane pressure and the multiple ganks in that lane, it's still paid off with Kobbe being in the lead. Giants will have the teleport back shortly, but they invested so much for a dragon gain. That was the difference, because they traded towers, traded some summoners and whatnot. But for Giants, it's a difficult situation to run the risk of repeating.
It is. I'm looking at kind of what has been done in the last few minutes. I mean, neither team has really utilized anything like the Rift Herald too much, that Doom's Eve. Normally for Doom's Eve, that means we need to reassess where the crisis is. But at this point, Giants, they're trying to hold on. They've got this extra wave clear, a little bit more from Adryh in this middle lane on the Ezreal. He's now got his 2 items completed. 161 CS is a little bit down, but to be honest, these have been better performances out of Adryh than we've seen from him so far. And again, we're at this 20-minute mark, just about. And Adryh is, you know, significantly less behind than he has been in previous weeks.
Yeah, still down 30 CS, I'm afraid.
Yeah, he is still behind.
But he was in a matchup that always needed time to scale, right?
Sure.
So you have to factor in at least some level of behindness. Deficit? That would be a better word. Some level of deficit that he's going to find himself in. Those were long games earlier today. Those were some long games earlier today, Stress.
Marathon man.
I'm running out of words. See?
With 4 games today, maybe QuickShot wasn't the right nickname. You need to be like Marathon Shot or something like that.
Seems to be the case. So we have crested 20 minutes. Splyce, they did get that mid turret a little while ago, and it is accrued that 1,500 gold lead. Triforce and Rapid, Triforce for Kobbe, Sencux. Rapid Fire Cannon for Kobbe. They have their items. Power Spike. Engage with the package.
Are you just throwing out buzzwords now?
I'm trying to just simplify it.
Engage. Okay, cool. Right. Dragon is not too long coming up now. Is due up in the next couple of minutes, so will be available. This whenever I watch a game with Splyce and I look at Dragon play, it takes me right back to the Challenger finals that they played against Mouse when they were Team Dignitas EU. And the games just went to Dragon 5 every single game. And while that's not what they're relying on in every game, it feels like there isn't a whole lot of active decision making from either of these teams. They're very happy to just allow a wave to push out, a wave to come in, a wave to push out, a wave to come in. And it's so difficult to play like that.
It's like reactive play, isn't it? It kind of feels like there's not a leader, a proactive decision maker. We are 60 seconds away from Dragon. Splyce have managed to pick up 6 dragons this split. Giants have managed to pick up 8. Neither team has had the greatest success around those objectives, but you know, when you're 2-7 and 1-9, 1-8 rather, it's obviously significantly harder to get objectives.
It is. It has been, but again, just both teams very willing to sit back. I mean, the fact the package has now been used twice by Splyce to not do anything, that's like 10 minutes of play.
Where is the engage? It's a cocoon and a devour.
It's very true.
So, you know, Splyce are kind of committed to the split push tower pressure game.
That's the thing, is that you can use the package to engage. We saw Perks highlighting that when he was going aggressive into a solo lane, crossing up through the river, going 2-on-1, making sure they had the engage potential there from the knockback package. But, I mean, it's just not there from Splyce, as you're saying. And the fact of the matter is, for Giants, outside of a Q flash from GODFRED, they've got no reliable multi-target engage. So again, the Tahm Kench just deals with everything that's sent their way. And now Tahm Kench is recalling away. The rest of Splyce are pushing forward.
Well,
so you're in this weird situation.
An advantage for Splyce. Very good cocoon onto GODFRED. Means Sencux will be able to flash away. BetongJocke goes forward. Exhaust is now connected. Atom finds Sencux and takes him down. Sencux overreaching and punished for it. Now Trashy's the target. BetongJocke is trying to pounce forward. There's another twisted advance. Nisbeth will eat up Trashy and pull him to safety. BetongJocke eats a tower shot or two before he's forced to back away, and all of a sudden, Splyce lose the momentum.
Miscommunication by Splyce. Nisbeth was recalling. Sencux was wanting to go forward with the rest of the team. Wunderwear on the meanwhile is up on the top tower, pushing that one through. They're going to lose mid tower for it at least. If they can hold the inner mid tower, this will be worth for them. It is inner or outer.
I don't think they can hold it though.
No. Well, they're pushing up. Yeah, Giants are backing away.
So clever play by Splyce. Teleports come in from Wunderwear. Grand Challenge is available, as is Flash.
Oh, it's 5v4.
Nisbeth's taking an abyssal voyage. He's jumped forward. Cocoon lands onto Atom. He is down. Grand Challenge has still been held by Wunderwear, and all of a sudden it's now Giants who are punished for overcommitting.
Yeah, neither mid laner was in that engage either. I thought at first it was 5v4, but Sencux had just respawned, was in the base. So Splyce utilizing the Abyssal Voyage, utilizing their teleport. A lot went into that. Can they trade that maybe for the mid inner or the bottom inner for themselves as well? Would be a good situation to be in. No teleport for Atom when he comes up in 20 seconds. So this is Splyce's opportunity to actually push through.
There's not enough side lane control.
Nope.
Both bot and top is pushing towards Splyce from Giants. So Splyce needed to have shoved those in maybe before trying to set up on an inner turret siege. Unfortunately, they were unable to do so. So Giants are able to withstand. And this is then Sencux going forward. He even pulled that Valkyrie shorts.
Yeah, just not catching BetongJocke, but the rest of the team just was already backing away as well. Like this, you can see where Tahm Kench is on the minimap there. I mean, at this point, there's no way of going aggressive like this in that situation. Miscommunication by Splyce. Really, really weird to see.
Yeah, not on the same page. And there's also something that I think Jankos was talking about in the pregame, how, you know, this is a single nationality squad. They are speaking literally the same language, but communicating not on the same page.
Yeah, and honestly, right now, you know, I cast Challenger on a Tuesday, so internally I'm actively comparing teams. And I look at some of the teams we have in Challenger, specifically Millennium, and how active they are on the map against Challenger opponents. There is a difference. There is a difference in coordination and map play. But a team like Millennium are very active, going for objectives, going for fights, and I don't see it from either Splyce or Giants. And yes, they've been facing tough opponents, far tougher than the Challenger teams when you look at the likes of Vitality, the likes of Origin, and H2K G2. But there still has to be said that when you're fighting the teams around you, if you have that instinct, it should be showing. And we're not seeing it from either team.
No, definitely not. But I think for Splyce, their game plan has been extremely clearly revealed. Banner of Command on Jungle Elise by Trashy. If you ever wanted more of a signal, they want to just play these side lanes, maybe play the Siege split push game. Farmed Fiora with 70 CS up over Atom. Approaching the flame horizon. Well, there is your signal. Giants starts at the Baron. Yesterday, Giants stole the Baron to win a game. Two-man knock-up. And we're going to see Wunderwear on the back line. Grand Challenge issue. Atom is already down. The front line for Giants is out. But funneling into that very narrow corridor, Splyce unable to push further. So they'll get a kill and they'll stop the Baron.
Yeah, they funneled right into a Corki, into Fiora damage. Giants thinking that they had the opportunity to go for that Baron, but they're running 3 sweepers, which means that they can control the vision when it comes to wards, but there are 2 blue trinkets on the side of Splyce. They can check it fairly often. Wunderwear's kept the yellow trinket right now, I would assume, just to be able to split push a little bit safer. Is able to drop that ward, it'll stay there for a longer amount of time. Does mean that they won't be able to check a Baron as effectively as if they had 3.
So the 3,000 gold lead, 2,500 gold lead that Splyce has accrued. 2,000 of that is in Wunderwear's pockets. Got himself a Black Cleaver. Got himself the Titanic Hydra. Is 9 CS away from the Flame Horizon, which is a 100 CS advantage over your opponents.
And this is the reasoning for getting that Banner of Command. You can see how much trouble the likes of a Maokai is going to have. And this is just one of the drawbacks of Maokai in general is...
Charm finds Trashy, but he doesn't even flash or need to repel. Nisbeth was nearby.
And that drawback is that Maokai is not a champion that can actively hold a lane the later this game goes against a carry like a Fiora, somebody that can continually push in. The same when it comes to a banned minion. If you got that banner minion in the bottom side, oh, here comes the teleport into the fight. Where is it coming from? It's inside.
Lane, Kobbe's going to be the target.
There's no one to protect him.
Rooted by the Twisted Advance. And Giants pick up an extremely easy kill.
Nisbeth and Kobbe not on the same page. They've got to be near each other if they want this Tahm Kench to actually work for them. And it gives Giants the kill onto the mid tower. And now they're looking to set up for a Baron play.
That is the exact proactive play that Giants need to do more of. They have the initiation tool. And if they can keep Splyce playing defensively and keep Wunderwear locked, that can be how they open up the opportunity to win this game. Baron, they start to clear out the vision. Pounce available for BetongJocke, defensive flash from Nisbeth. And Giants still playing from behind, still down in gold.
And right now it's all about the bait because Kobbe's not available. He's the second blue trinket for Splyce, but Giants are backing away. They don't really want to start this Baron up for themselves, not overly confident in doing it. It gives Splyce a moment to settle themselves. Here comes the, I believe it's the Home Guard and the Righteous Glory used here as well. Always going forward means Atten is going to get that engage onto Kobbe. No real way of protecting him. Easy pick, and that's what I mean about Maokai providing simple engage options. There is nothing difficult about the decision that was just made. It was Tahm Kench isn't by him, I'm going on him, that's a kill.
And it allowed Giants to pick up their fourth tower as well. Inner turret, middle lane down. Wunderwear is pushing in the bottom lane. Look at that very, very quick teleport. xPePii will be joining the fight late. And Wunderwear is coming from the flank. I think Sencux may have picked up the package. He is flying out of the base. Trashy will not find a target with a cocoon, and Nisbeth, the target. He's not going to be able to devour anyone. GODFRED gets a two-man knockup, a long-range package delivery, and Sencux sends xPePii home. Atom's on the front line, but not for much longer. He has been felled by the light-slinging passive of Kobbe. Kobbe's not done yet, as he's taken home beef for dinner, and he's sending the cat back to the pet shop.
The clean ace for Splyce. Triple kill goes on to Kobbe in the package. Finally gets used by Splyce. They Giants set themselves up to fail in that fight, really. Trying to start for the Baron, coming back down away from it. Teleport came out from Wunderwear to make sure that they could kite them back down the river, not give them an easy exit route. And Splyce, they've been playing reactive. They may be able to end the game off that.
I was told that a support Tahm Kench wasn't tanky. Splyce say, I do not care for that. In one fell sweep, they take down Giants.
Splyce showing they do have some fangs left when given the opportunity, they can strike.
Punishing opponents' mistakes. Both teams demonstrated an ability to do that in this game. And it got late enough, and there was enough damage on the Splyce side to finish in less than a minute after picking up a strong flanking position.
You have to feel, though, it was the tie for that 8th spot. And the game, you know, in the way it flowed, the way the decision-making went, you know, you wouldn't confuse it for a game for, like, the top spot. It was kind of a messy one. It was a little bit rough. Both teams showing passive play rather than active, you know, continually trying to move forward. And at the end of it, Splyce just found themselves a better team fight with Giants going aggressive when the package had been picked up. Good package from Sencux going all the way through, splitting up the Giants lineup.
And for Splyce, showing that they are stronger than the two teams that are below them, both Giants and Roccat. That is a 2-0 head-to-head against Giants for Splyce, which can come in very important again as the weeks continue to roll on. We're going to start looking at these head-to-heads to determine, you know, tie breaks in the standings. And Splyce, they're on the cusp of that safe zone. 3-7 they are now. Have to beat Elements. They have to prove that they can get better than Elements to make it out of promotion relegation.
They do. It's still a couple of weeks left, so there's still room for improvement from both teams. you can make that push towards the end of the season. We've seen it happen before. Team claw their way up from the bottom, but nevertheless, it's a win here for Splyce.
It is a win, and it was a convincing end to the game. We're going to head over to the